Okay, I think we're on. So I was going to live stream this last big battle, but then I didn't have live streaming activated on my YouTube account, so it had to take 24 hours, so it's all over already. You guys missed it. But here's basically the deal. As you can see, we're at turn 896. I'm now the Japanese in the contemporary era, the year 3000. Game has long been over. Achieved 13K. My opponents, the three opponents I started with, were all NPCs. Say this empire is eliminated, this empire is eliminated, and this empire is eliminated. Started out in St. Petersburg, which was something else at the time. Let's see, build a statue of Zeus. There's Stonehenge. There's Angkor Wat. Got Tode Chai, or however you say that. Temple of Artemis. A couple other cities on this first continent. Basically, I had this whole continent to myself in the beginning. Just so slowly spread across through the early eras. Built everything up. Fought with some independent people. And then my first encounter with somebody else was these guys over here. They were the Nubians at the time. And they ended up taking over this little island and developing a border with me. And so that was pretty exciting. I quickly created an army and took those islands over, and then invaded this beach here and took over this first administrative center. That was the first thing I took over. I had some naval battles with the guys to the south of me here, the yellow, in the early days, but I ended up battling them and taking over territory until I took over this Jerusalem here. I just picked these names because I was the Austro-Hungarians as my second. And that was when I created these three cities. And I chose St. Petersburg because it's named after St. Peter, obviously. And it's a pretty badass old city. Too bad what the socialists did to it. Okay, anyway. These guys were the Britons and then the Brazilians. They were pretty badass for a long time. They actually took first place by around 300, which was a long time ago, almost 600 rounds ago. So they were, I was nervous about them in the beginning. They ended up overtaking these guys, and the two of them ended up being at war for a long time, which I think weakened them both. I pretty much, when Pink invaded Orange over here and took over the whole center of the country, that was the first time I went to war with them. Took over the rest of this, or the half of this continent. Ended up with a border right here, Pink and Orange, and was able to go to war with both of them and take both those territories at the same time, and even push across into what I ended up naming Savannah. I made this continent South America because it was southish of the one I made North America, which was the other northern continent after Europe, which ended up covering the whole Eurasia. So that's cool. Anyway, the big final battle was here. I initially had to invade from Jerusalem across here because these little beaches were the only spots I could land troops. I figured out the solution to that, though. If there's nowhere to land, you just have to hit it with artillery until you destroy all the construction on the land, and then you can land your troops there. So that's a trick to that, which I found out sort of almost after the fact. Makes sense. This was a whole process. I ended up taking this little section through the middle in one war, and I had to attack north and south. Ended up, they held out to just this little southern beach land here. That was the last thing I took, along with this little chunk next to it. But then, so after I destroyed them, the last thing that was left was this little island with the red. And this is where I figured out about the landing, because you can't even land on these. When the city was here, you couldn't land troops there. It says you cannot besiege a city with units at sea. So that was the trick. And as you can see over here, I got artillery units. I got a fleet here with 4 artillery units. And oh, that's my subs. And then I got, oh yeah, over here I got 2 artillery units. Here I got 3 more artillery units, which those the battleships can bombard districts and battlefields from out of battle. Basically acts as an artillery unit. And then I had a couple these guys with 4 artilleries, these guys with 4 artilleries. And then I had this little group here with basically 5 artilleries, mortar and 4 artilleries. And I boated them across and landed here because this was undeveloped. They were able to land there. And then I basically, as you can see, there's nothing here but ruins. This was where the city was. And I hit it with artillery from here, from the ships, from here, and from here. It just basically blasted the entire city to ruins. And once I was done, they ceased. They became eliminated. And this guy here, this artillery unit here, just founded this outpost, and I attached it to what I think to Rio. I attached it, right? Yeah, Rio. So it's now an extension of Rio de Janeiro up there. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, I'm losing almost 50K a year right now after the battle was over and I took over all these new territories. I now have 21 cities. I'm only supposed to have 13, so I'm suffering a pretty major penalty on that, but still coming out in the positive, which is one of the reasons I attached this new city to Rio instead of creating a city, was to keep that from getting any worse. So I need basically to decommission all these military units to balance my budget. And then once I build up some money, I can combine some of these cities. It costs around $1 million to combine these cities. What's this? How's that? I can absorb that for nothing. That's pretty nice. Should probably take care of that. See that? Absorb for 0. Yeah, see over here, it's 1,747,000 to absorb those. Bigger cities, I guess. This one, yeah, we're looking at around $1 million for most of these. It's $2 million up there, but this one can literally attach to Nairobi for 0. I'm gonna do that right now. It just helped my penalty out quite a bit. Right on. Yeah, now so. Anyway, I don't know if I'm gonna bother. Basically, it's over. I rule the world. There it is. All right. Oh, I did. I was going to show you right before I go. Some of the stuff that you build later in the game. All these little guys. Basically, once you hit the contemporary era, you don't build religious statues or temples or whatever anymore. Instead, you build a space station, a lunar lander, polar satellite system. That's one that goes north-south. Geosynchronous satellite gives you the east-west view. 2 combined to clear up all the fog on the whole map, basically. Satellite network gives you communications. Bonus. What else have we got here? Oh, and then the Mars colony. That was the last one. So I have a colony on Mars as well as ruling the entire Earth. Pretty impressive, huh? And that's a harbor there. Bring in the fuel for the Mars colony ship. So yeah, and this is my favorite, right over St. Petersburg, up on the mountain. There you go. There we go. There we go. Christ the Redeemer. Alrighty. With that, I will bid you adieu.